Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to FadeMasterVideos.com. My name is Andre. Today I'll be teaching you guys how to do a Mohawk with a number 1 on the sides. So let's get started. As always put on the neck strip. Half of it goes under the cape, the other half on top of the cape. This prevents hair from falling into the client's clothing and also is sanitary. Let me go over my clippers really quick. I use the Wall Seniors and I keep the blades the same way they came from the store. I use a set of Andes Masters. I set up the blades to cut closer. In one of my other videos, I go step by step showing you guys how to do this. These ones, I got them set up to cut closer. In one of my other videos, I go step by step showing you guys how to open them and adjust them so the blades can cut closer. I use these to get rid of the line from the shavers or from the blade if I do a bald fade with the blade. And I also use them to do the beard on people that get irritated when you use the blade on them. I use these right here. I use these to do kids and to do the back of the neck. I keep these the same way they come from the store. The blades, I don't adjust them. And these ones, I use them as my backup pair. They're pretty good for edging also. For the Wall Seniors, I have all the guards from the half guard all the way up to the number 12. The 10 and the number 12, they're a little bit hard to find, but they're really good. They save you time because it's faster to cut with clippers than to cut with scissors. For the Andes Masters, I use these 3 guards. They're the Speedo Guy guards. This one right here is the 00. At the barbershop, we call it the number 1 because it cuts just a little bit lower than the number 1 from the Wall Seniors. I use the number 0. We call it the number 2. These one cuts just a little bit lower than the number 2 on the Wall Seniors. And the 0A, we call it the number 3. Also a pair of scissors, of course, and thinning shears. They're very important to make sure the blend comes out perfect. Alright, so let's get started with the haircut. First, you want to disinfect your clippers in front of the client so the client knows that you're using some clean clippers. You don't want to do this 5 minutes before the client gets there just to save yourself some time. That's not the way you want to save time. I'm going to oil the clippers a little bit so it can cut smoother. Gonna use the number 1 with the Wall Seniors. Gonna set it up on low. By the way, this is low, this is high. So set up on low. Notice that I'm bringing the clippers just past this point right here on the head. You want to keep in mind how high you bring your clippers so that way you do the same steps on the other side. Also notice that when I'm bringing it up to the point that I want, I'm blending it in a circular movement to fade out the line as I'm cutting. Now I'm gonna set it up midway and I'm gonna do the same step in a circular movement, fading out the line. Now I'm gonna set it up on high all the way back. Now I'm going to be using the number 0 with the Andes Masters. Keep in mind we call this the number 2. Set up on low all the way forward. When using a guard with the Andes Masters, make sure you don't bring the lever all the way forward. When it goes like this, it means it's messing up the guard. Inside, it's eating it up. So when you put it on low, you want to make sure it's just past the first line so you don't hear that sound. Notice that as I'm bringing the guard up, I'm cutting it in a circular motion to fade out the line. Now I'm gonna use the 0A with the Andes Masters. Remember to always keep your client clean. You don't want your client to get full of hair. That's unprofessional. So with the guard set up on low, notice how I'm cutting just a little bit with the number 3. Sometimes all you need to cut is just a little bit to get that blend. You don't need to cut a whole lot and bring the clippers really high up for it to blend. That might even mess up the haircut. Sometimes all you need to cut is just a little bit to get that perfect blend. This is something that I recommend my students and my barbers to do one side of the head first and then the other side, because that way you can show the client right away, see if they like it. Cool? That way you already know that's how they like it and you're good. So you just do the other side the same way. If the client wanted it a little bit higher, you just go back and do it really quick on one side. You don't want to wait and do the whole haircut to find out the client wants it a little bit shorter. That way you gotta repeat the whole thing. Keep in mind, the same steps we did on the left side, we're gonna do them on the right side. With the wall seniors, with the number 1 guard set up on low. Always keep in mind how high you brought the clippers on the other side. On the left side, remember, we brought the number low 1 up to this point right here. So we're doing the same on the right side. Now we're gonna bring the left to the midpoint with the same guard, the number 1, and we're just gonna blend it in just a little bit. Remember, sometimes all you need to cut is just a little bit to get that perfect blend. You don't necessarily need to cut a whole lot. Notice how I'm just cutting a little bit. Sometimes all you need to do is just cut a little bit to get that perfect blend. Now with the number 0, with the Andes Masters, set up on low. Remember to always cut in a circular movement when you're bringing it up to the point that you want. That way you're blending it as you're cutting. Now with the number 08 or number 3, like we call it at the barbershop, set up on low with the Andes Masters. You always want to check with your mirror to see how it's coming out, because the mirror gives you a different angle to look at the haircut from. Here I notice that I can use the number low 2, 2.5 to get a better blend. So that's what I'm gonna do. This is the 2, set up on high. Now I'm going to set it up on low. Now I'm gonna look at it like this to make sure that both sides are sticking out the same. I see that this one is a little bit longer, so I'm gonna go back with the low 3 and the number 2 also. Now I'm going to pass the number 2, set up on high, and now set up on low. So now I'm going to use the number 3 guard with the wall seniors, set up on low. Now I'm going to use the number 4 guard with the wall seniors. Notice that I brought the number 3 and the number 4 just a little bit in to start giving it that Mohawk look. Now I'm gonna use the scissors. So when you're combing using the scissors, this process is called palming the scissors. Alright? Let me wet the hair a little bit more. The length that I'm gonna be cutting his hair is called finger length, because it's gonna go all the way to the length of my fingers. This is actually pretty easy, because you just bring your fingers all the way down to the scalp and just cut it. So it is a little bit easier than leaving the hair a little bit longer. Take it down a little bit. The front, we actually leave it just a little bit longer, and we comb it in a 180-degree angle. So first, I did the middle all the way back. Now I'm gonna do the right side. Same way, just finger length, combing the hair in a 90-degree angle. place your fingers in a 45-degree angle to blend in the top with the sides. The same thing here on the left side. Comb the hair 180 degrees forward. Now come in a 90-degree angle. Finger length. That means bring your fingers all the way down to the scalp. If you're new at cutting with scissors, I recommend you try this. Cutting the hair finger length makes it easier for you to find your guide. You just know you gotta bring the fingers all the way down to the scalp and you're good. To give it that mohawk look, I'm gonna match where I brought the number 4 guard with the top. So I'm gonna be cutting like this in a 45-degree angle. And obviously bringing my fingers down to the scalp because this is finger length, guys. Now I'm going to be doing the right side. Always remember to keep this line clean. Like I said, we're matching the top with the sides where we brought the number 4. Now for the back, this client doesn't like the tail to be long, so I'm gonna be running a number 6 with the wall seniors. 6, set up on low. Now to check my work, I stand like this and I look at it. I see that the hair right here is just a little bit longer than the one on this side, so I'm gonna cut it just a little bit lower. To be a really good barber, you have to be a perfectionist. Well, actually, I see that this blend looks really good right there, but this one, it looks like I need to go back right here. I'm gonna go back and take care of that little spot right there. Keep in mind, there's nothing wrong with verifying your work and going back and fixing it. What's bad is when you let a client walk out and the haircut is not perfect. Alright? This is a low 3 right here. Now I look at the mirror, I see that I still need to cut it just a little bit more. So I'm going to use the number 2 set up on high. Now to make the blend look even better, I'm going to use the thinning shears. These are the ones that have 40 teeth. You don't need to buy a pair that are really expensive. As long as they have 40 teeth, you're good. You just put the comb under the hair and cut it with the thinning shears, whatever sticks out. You don't want to push the shape up back unless the client asks you to. Most people like their shape up right where it grows to the natural hairline. Now I'm going to do the other side. For the shape up, you want to give it this arch look right here. Now I'm going to wet the hair again. Keep in mind, guys, when you're doing the shape up for a mohawk, it's not gonna look just straight like when you're doing any other haircut. For the mohawk, you want to leave the front lower, so it's gonna have like a V look to it. You want to use a comb like this, a fine comb, to comb every hair and make sure it's straight, because this is the hair the client's gonna use to put up. Then once you put the hair up, you want to edge up the little hairs that stick out. Now I'm going to do the shape up in the back, behind the ear first. By the way, I'm using the edgers that are not set up to cut closer when I'm doing the back of the neck, because the ones that are set up to cut closer, they're going to bother the client they're gonna feel a little bit too sharp. They might even leave a red line on the client's skin. So you don't wanna do that. That is why it's so important that you keep a pair of edgers the same way they come from the store. For the back, you don't want it pointy, right? You want it like oval shape?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, cool. Always make sure you ask the client plenty of questions. You don't want to assume anything and then not do exactly the kind of haircut that the client wants. I'm holding the hair down with the comb, and this is why you need a fine comb, because with the big comb, with this one, it's not the same. It's not gonna be as precise. When you're doing the shape up behind the client's ear, make sure you hold it with the other hand. Even when you're cutting one of your customers, I always recommend my barbers and my students to ask the client before you do it, because we're all human. You might forget what number you do their beard with, so it's always good to be reminded and ask the client. That's cool.
Perfect, yeah.
Now I'm going to be lining up his beard. You should loosen up the cape a little bit. Get back a little bit. You want to make sure your client is comfortable. That way they'll keep coming back to you. If you don't have one of these machines, I recommend you get one. They make the lather come out like a little bit warm, and that feels really good for the client. Now, for clients like him that have really sensitive skin, I usually do a hot towel. Gonna be showing you guys how to do that. In a couple of my other videos, I use the hot towel also. So let me show you guys how to do a hot towel. To do the hot towel, this is what you do. Just get a towel, wet it, and take off the excess water from it. Leave it damp, and then you put it in the microwave. I leave the towel in there for 1 minute and 15 seconds. I think that's a good timing. So 1 minute and 15 seconds is up. Let's get the hot towel. It's pretty hot. It's actually very hot, so I'm giving it a few seconds to cool off before I put it on the client's face. What this does is that it opens up the pores and it makes it easier to shave the client. That makes the client irritate a lot less. So now we apply shaving cream one more time. I always change the blade in front of the customer so the customer knows he's getting a new blade. Also, you want to keep your combs in a Barbicide liquid. This is how you hold the blade, by the way. The pinky here, thumb here, 3 fingers here. See it? And then you want a fine comb. You want the bottom line rounded?
Yeah, rounded, yeah.
Okay. And just follow it the way it is right now, right?
Yeah.
Lower than the jawbone? Okay. Even though in my other videos, I tell you guys that you can use the jawbone as your guide when you're doing the beard, you also want to ask the client first, see how he wants his beard done. Because a lot of guys, like him right here, he likes to have his beard lower than the jawbone, all the way down here. So make sure you ask the customer before you start shaving him. On some customers, it's obvious, like for him, for example, because he just shaved a few days ago, so you can still see where the line is. But if a customer comes to you with his beard all grown and you can't tell where the last line was, you need to ask them. Well, you need to ask the customer regardless. Always ask them questions, never assume anything. Use a black towel to wipe off the comb and the blade. You don't want to clean it on your jacket or the client's cape. That's not professional. To do the mustache, I'm going to flip the blade. Keep in mind that the mustache is the most sensitive area to shave, so you always want to have a fresh blade when you shave the mustache. Notice how I'm stretching the client's skin with this hand. When you're doing a client's beard, you want to make sure you stand in front of the client and make sure that both sides of the beard are even. I can shave you going up, right? You don't get irritated.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's something else you want to ask the client too. If they can take the blade going up. Because for some clients, their skin gets irritated. Now for the neck, you don't want to pass the blade going up unless the client asks you to. Make sure you stretch the skin good. When shaving the client, hold the blade at a 45-degree angle or less so you don't cut the client. Finally, you want to pass the blade on the back of the neck to make the edge last a couple of more days. This is something that a lot of barbers don't do to save themselves a little bit of time. And if you do it, it's gonna make you stand out. Clients will notice that, they'll like it, and they'll keep coming back to you. When you're shaving somebody, you can go fast, but you don't wanna have a heavy hand because that's gonna hurt the client. So you can go fast, but you just wanna have a light hand, okay? Now we're going to be applying the aftershave. This right here, I use aftershave. I mix it with alcohol to last longer. I even add a little bit of water because you don't need it to stink that much to make it work. This is what I do. I spray it into the napkin and I use the air gun so it doesn't sting as bad. Always remember to apply some gel to make the client, look nice before they leave the barbershop. How's it looking?
Yeah, it's looking perfect, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Alright, so here you have it, guys. Mohawk with a number 1 on the sides and the back. For more videos like this one and many more, check us out at fademastervideos.com. And remember, practice makes perfect, so keep on cutting, guys. Peace.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Nestor. I've been a faithful client of Andre for so many years. I come here, I'm always happy with the final cut. I just, if you want to be good, if you want to be a professional, you gotta better listen and watch all those videos because Andre is the greatest. You already know, FadeMastersVideos.com. Check it out.